True crime. From cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Shae. This is Guilty of Crime.
Ooh. What's up, JT? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. And, I always get a thrill out of seeing that intro. I just love it, Jay.
Well, thank you. I love it too. And we'll thank Mr. Greeno for doing that. So, we got to get something going like that. I do love the setup that we have going right now in your crime scene. Did you create that? The live stream and all the stuff going on down there?
Yeah, yep. Just put it together on Canva.
Awesome. I guess that's a new thing is Canva. So welcome, folks. Happy Mother's Day, by the way, to everybody out there in YouTube land, right?
Right. Happy
Mother's
Day to everybody. Happy Mother's Day to you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Sade Robinson wasn't a mother, but she wasn't allowed to be because her life got taken. So let's say happy Mother's Day to her mother, who was frantically looking for her remaining body parts. It's not Father's Day, but she has a stand-up dad that's out there looking as well. Hello to everybody. Dandelions, the Bishop, Sherry, all of the folks. Davy Jones, we love you. We love you all. So yes, Sade is who we're talking about today, and a possible connection with Joniah Walker, which I want to bring up. We'll talk about the memorial, the saws and drills, and then, like I said in the last episode, Joniah Walker went missing. She was 15 years old. She looked a little older than 15. Sade was 19. They both worked at the same pizza place, same area, very eerily similar circumstances. They looked very similar as well. So we want to bring that to everybody's attention and make sure that now somebody did tip it in. One of my viewers, they sent me the message that they tipped it into the FBI so that they can look at that. And if they do have DNA from the blood that was found, they can look that way or anything else. So if you guys that are watching Joniah Walker, I'll show you her in a little bit. And
I wonder what's the connection with Maxwell and this pizza place. Has he ever worked there, or does he just like going there? Do the people who work there, have they seen him in there before? I would love to know that.
That's a good question. And the only way we're going to find out is if we have people that come email, which a lot of people email me now and tell me they know somebody that did the person that tipped it in is right from the area and they know that area. So there's a good possibility that maybe there's the same hangout spots after they get off of work at the pizza joint. They go down and have, go to the fish spot. And it's, I don't know. Maybe they're allowed to get in to the bar. She wasn't 21. Maybe they know they can go to that bar. I'm not sure, but I'm sure willing to dig into it and find out.
Absolutely. We're going to be digging into it. And rightfully so. We are going to use our platforms here to bring a voice to the voiceless, and we want justice for Sade.
Absolutely, and Joniah Walker as well.
And Joniah, yes, yeah. It's I know part of the story they're saying, oh well, she wanted to run away. Well, what better story to tell the young girl to tell everybody? So that way, when she does go missing, no one actually looks for her.
That's very typical. That's a very typical story that people use and police use when they're not looking into something. They classify them as a runaway. Let's be honest. Even Madeline Soto, they first said that she maybe went to her friends or ran away. She said she wanted to live in the woods. And so they kind of started to look at it as her being a runaway until they saw the interviews and started looking closer. So
yeah,
we'll take that off the table. Yeah.
I would love to see if there is a connection with this pizza place.
Me too. And it's a weekend. I wasn't even supposed to film this weekend. Last night I was on Watch the Obsession for 3 hours. And then today on Mother's Day, I'm here. But I'll do more this week. I'll do more research.
Yeah, thank you for doing this Mother's Day.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. Juror 13, what's up? Everybody's happy to be here. Happy Mother's Day to all of you that are hopping in there now. And Davy Jones makes a point. Most missing kids are runaways and turn up the same day. Absolutely. Or the next. And someone will find out, they're at a friend's house or they went to the aunts or uncles.
That's what the sheriff was saying with the Elijah Vu case. He's like, we normally find them within a day or less, and it just never happened with Elijah Vu. Yeah, it's a shame.
Right. And I think with this case, we all have the same feeling that Maxwell Anderson, that is not his first victim, that he has done this before. He's not new at it. He did I will say, good job in what he did and how the cuts were made. They said that's not somebody that did this the first time. And he had a grave in his backyard and all these other things we're going to see. This is not the first one, I believe.
Yeah, no. It's the stuff we're going to see is very interesting. That's for sure. I'm excited about today's stream because I've been wanting to see into this guy's dungeon basement and see what it looks like and what might have been going on down there. And yeah, like if I would have went down there, it does look like not a place, not a good place to be. That's for sure.
It's not somewhere you would take a date. That's for sure, right?
Oh, and then the things they found down there, saws. They found some saws. They found some drills. They found some not so good stuff, and a drain pipe that was clogged too.
Hence the body parts being cut in the way that they were. And there's a whole case on a gentleman that had his drains clogged, and that's what got him caught. He was putting stuff down the drains and did it too many times. The plumbers came out there and they said these are fluids from people's body and veins and all this stuff. So in that case, that is not his first one that Maxwell Anderson did. Therefore, there are other women that have to be tied to him, and hopefully we can help uncover that. Yeah. Let's get to it, JT.
Let's get to it. Should we start with the memorial a little bit and talk about Sade's memorial?
Yeah, I just want to remember Sade. Let's remember Sade. Her birthday was on Friday, and there was a beautiful memorial they did. JT has certain clips. I have certain clips. You pick the one, pick the one or two that's the best, or whatever you want. But yeah, I think let's remember her. I'll share my thing, and then we'll get into the saws and drills, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Trigger warning, folks. If any of you guys, creepy. It's all going to be. We're all going to. There's some things. So trigger warning. If you get upset easily and you can't listen to this, I'm telling you now. Trigger warning.
All right. We'll start out with some of the memorial stuff, if that's okay.
Do your
thing.
Weekend
of remembrance for 19-year-old Sade Carlina Robinson, who was murdered last month. Prosecutors say Robinson was killed and dismembered after a first date April 1st. Yesterday would have been her 20th birthday, and tonight the community is showing support for her grieving family. Emily Polfall takes us to a celebration in her honor at Wilson Park.
It's been a very long, difficult month for Sade Robinson's friends and family, as many of them have been out every week still searching for her remains. But as you can see, Saturday, they tried to take a pause and celebrate and honor her. A weekend of events honoring Sade Robinson, who would have been celebrating her 20th birthday. While Robinson's friends and family are at the forefront of everyone's hearts and minds, they aren't the only ones in attendance.
You didn't know Sade personally, did you?
I did not. Like many other Americans, I was really touched by the story, saddened.
Perfect strangers that wanted to offer their time and talents there too.
No matter what's going on in my life, I would always come back to this to see if there was something I could do. And I'm handicapped, so I can't do much, but If there's something I can do, I want to do it. And I think the most important thing is just to bear witness.
A sentiment that means a lot to Robinson's cousin, Jackie Garza.
This is not something that someone or a family should go through alone. So as a community, I do appreciate everybody that has been coming out.
Service like this display made by Taquanda Dania Brown
is something that I do from my heart.
And support from people like Eva Higgins.
Know that we care. The city cares. Our neighborhoods care.
Forging a bond that's bigger and stronger than the word stranger.
Everyone probably couldn't call her family. Like, she put the community together and it made everybody a family.
In Milwaukee, Emily Pofall, WISN 12 News.
The community is still out searching Milwaukee County every week for Robinson's remains. Someone discovered her severed leg in Warnemont Park in Cudahy on April 2nd. Searchers found more remains believed to be Robinson's near 31st and Galena in Milwaukee and along Lake Michigan in South Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's sad, but it was also beautiful at the same time to have people come together that didn't know her to celebrate her. It was her birthday, and we know where she partially is. We know that she's no longer with us. So let's find that closure and get justice for the family and find out who else might be a victim of Maxwell's.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because there could be more. I'll play one more.
Bracelets, balloons, and bounce houses decorate Milwaukee's Wilson Park Saturday.
All over the city, people have been dressing up in pink.
Although it's not Adriana Reams' favorite color,
For me to come out here and wear pink, it's entirely for her.
she's donning it for her big sister, Sade Robinson.
I'm happy to do it because I know that she's with me when I do it.
Sade's family held a public repast, which is a get-together around a meal, typically held right after a funeral. Since there hasn't been a funeral, her loved ones are doing it one day after Friday's public memorial for her.
Justice for Sade.
That took place on her 20th birthday.
There's like so many reminders of her and like shared memories and experiences of her that it hopes to like bring her back to us.
Family members say Saturday's reminders and displays wouldn't be possible without community vendors and event planners like Taquanda Dania Brown.
I just felt like if I can't do anything else, I can create a display for them.
Brown says the story of Sade's killing and dismemberment struck a nerve with her, enough to reach out to the family.
I just felt touched because I'm a woman and I have daughters.
She says she wanted to use her event planning business to help in any way.
Pictures are like the #1 thing to healing. After you lose the loved one, you really only have those memories left.
Ream says losing her sister has been a community experience, with so many helping out in searches for her remains and giving support.
You know, we're not alone in this. Like, Sade touched a lot of people.
She says it's only fitting the community celebrates Sade's life with the family while continuing to say her name. And the family is still searching the county for Sade's remains. In the meantime, her mother says Sade was supposed to receive her associate degree from Milwaukee Area Technical College next week, and she says Sade will still get her diploma, and the family actually will be accepting it in her place.
Yeah, sad. I've seen that before. That's cool that they're doing that and getting their, getting the degree and accepting it for her. This is a story that's been told many times, unfortunately. And may she rest in peace. And if they don't find the rest of her, I hope they can come to terms somehow with it so that we don't see the parents decline too much,
Yeah, the dad looked like he's holding up, but he's seen better days, that's for sure. I'm a little worried about him. Hopefully he gets some help searching, because you got to get some rest. He was saying he couldn't sleep and stuff, so my heart goes out to both of them, but hopefully the dad is keeping his head about him.
Yeah, absolutely. Both the mom is all over the place too. She's doing as many interviews as she can. She's crying. She's almost like a Seth Rogers kind of thing. She's just going to every outlet that she can. And they do have a GoFundMe up there. You guys couldn't look for it. If you go back to the last video, we played it. Make sure you're going to GoFundMe to the right people, because nowadays people are so. maybe on the evidence.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Marv.
this one's a tough one. Yeah, shout out to Marv. This one's a tough one to cover. A lot of people don't want to hear it, and it's gruesome, but that it is gruesome, and that's the thing. YouTube doesn't like it so much. Most of my videos they have little monetization on these ones, and it's not even about that. It's about getting this out there and finding the missing body parts, and helping the family get justice and find out if there are more people. We'll know maybe when they give us information on that blood. So quickly before we get into that, I wanted to remind you that there's a missing person named Joniah Walker that has similar circumstances in the same area, worked at the same pizza place that Sade Robinson did. And I want to share this with you just so you're aware. One of our crime crews tipped it into the, let me see. I shared it, but I think JT, you need to, there you go. All right. So let's do a quick, she's missing. Let me see how it looks. All right. There she is. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because they worked at the same pizza place. Do you remember the name of the pizza place offhand?
Pizza Shuttle.
Pizza Shuttle. Pizza
Reminds me
Shuttle.
of like the Pizza Planet from Toy Story, but it's Pizza Shuttle. They're kind of like a little throw off.
Right, and they've got this big sign. I don't know if you can go upstairs. I know in Milwaukee, a lot of places are narrow and they have stairs that you walk into. I can't tell, but it looks like that. You see a big sign, Pizza Shuttle, and Sade Robinson worked there. Joniah Walker worked there. Very similar looking women, similar in lots of ways. Now, Joniah's been missing since June 23rd, 2022. Right now, we're in 2024 of May 12th, 2024. She was 15 years old, brown eyes, black hair, 5'3", 130 pounds, and a slim build. Now, they classified her as a runaway because if you look down here, she had a big backpack on, and that's the last time they saw her. So she was last seen wearing olive green Adidas, graphic t-shirt pictured, blue jeans, carrying a huge olive green hiking backpack. If you see her, you can contact the police department at this phone number, 414-933-4444, or her parents' numbers are listed as well down here. So 262-383-6385 or 414-722-2963. They've classified her at this point as a runaway, and I can understand a bit how, because when she left, I feel like somebody may have lured her away. She did look like she packed up. I'll show you a quick video of that. It looks like she had packed up and took off. Somebody may have bought her that backpack. She had an
Where was she
Amazon
going?
package.
Where would she have to go? She can't even buy property. She can't even rent a hotel. Like, where would she be going?
Right.
To meet up with another adult, or not another, but an adult, because she's only 15.
And they didn't look into it. Somebody sent her that Amazon package. She got that big old backpack. So they sent her the package. They didn't look into it. They didn't look into the phone numbers, who she was talking to see where she might have went. She was lured away by somebody, and they ordered her that backpack and said, "Come on, let's go. I'll take you to my parents rich. My parents are rich. They have this house. Come stay, or I have my own place. I got this really cool basement,
Or you can live with me, and I want to be with you forever." That type of stuff,
And Maxwell Anderson is a monster, but we've seen pictures of him. He looks like the guy Jax from Sons of Anarchy. He has his handsome points, and we see lots of selfies of him. I'm sure he was out on the dating apps. He might have went to the pizza place and met her. Too similar of circumstances for me not to think, or even if they're not connected, there's no reason that we shouldn't be looking for Joniah Walker as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you a quick clip, and then we'll get on back to what we're talking about: saws, drills, basements, dungeons, and get into Maxwell. But I feel that this may be connected. Either way, we still need to look for this young lady because she's missing, and I do not think that she is a runaway. All right. You'll get a better sense of it here in this video. Let me share it 1 second. Sorry. Hold on. I couldn't stop that.
Yeah, it looked like a huge backpack, especially for a 15-year-old girl. And you don't think she's going to be walking far carrying a bag like that. She had to be going somewhere, meeting up with somebody at a car or a building, a house, something.
And you don't find it suspicious that the Amazon package came in like the day before, so you have to add that to the screen. You have to add it to the screen before I can play it. I shared my screen, but you have to. There you go. All right. So here it is. Joniah Walker missing, and we'll show you what I'm talking about.
And when the phone went to the voicemail, I knew in my heart of hearts something was wrong. I was in shock because it was no sign of her anywhere. I do believe she went and met with a person or persons. I'm not sure, but definitely someone online. It's been almost a year. So I really feel like it's something against her will.
We really need your help.
And now we're talking about 2 years almost. So this was a little bit older. This was missing and exploited children. And they were trying to get the word out there as well and, do what they can to help. But now that we have this big case again, let's get her back on the radar. All right. This isn't long. We'll finish it.
To find a missing Milwaukee teenager. 15-year-old Joniah Walker disappeared from her home in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, what happened next is a mystery.
Joniah, if you're watching, I'm smiling through my tears and my pain, but I miss you, and we all miss you, and we want you to come home. We need you. I mean, it is not the same without you, girl.
And there it is, folks. If you know anything about anything, there's a number there. Hopefully, I think that line's through there, but you can see it's 800. There's another one, 1-800-843-5658. All right, let me hit play. I just want to stop it for a second. All right, Social Center, I'm glad they did this. I'm very glad they did this. So let's make awareness, bring awareness for this little girl. Now she would be 17. Okay. Wow. Now we can get into the next segment, everybody, and you can tell us your thoughts in the comments. If you do the rewatch crew, leave comments in it. The more likes and the more comments and the more shares, the more we can get this out there and people can look at it and take it more seriously.
Absolutely. Well, should we get into Nancy's video here?
Absolutely. Let's do it, JT.
All right. 1 second. A little bit bigger.
Breaking news tonight, teen girl Sade Robinson tells friends she's excited about a first date with the son of a Milwaukee millionaire. But did her so-called date lure the college co-ed onto a date turned murder? Tonight, inside the underground torture dungeon in the murder suspect's home, where a hacksaw, a circle saw, and a power drill are discovered. Is that where Sade spent her very last moments alive? And if so, what evidence does it reveal? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us.
Footage from inside the unfinished basement that police have called a sex dungeon shows it's in disarray. A large hole has been dug in the concrete floor. A drain in the floor is stuffed with towels. The drain cover marked with evidence numbers. A door without a handle leads to a dark closet, and there are several tables, a chair, and exercise equipment. The mattress of a queen bed frame is flipped on its side, and bedding is tossed over a table in the corner of the room.
You are seeing footage that we have managed to obtain of the underground torture chamber, as it has been described, but there is more than what you're seeing. From a hacksaw to a circular saw to a power drill, a grave dug in the backyard, various sex
Now, in all fairness, I do have drills and stuff in my basement. I have tools in my basement, but I don't dismember anybody down there. You know.
Yeah, Davey, that is a fair question. Not definitely not strange, but it is strange when you find body parts that are cut in the way that they are. Now we probably know the tools that were being used. Now, people that are first timers that do things like this, they usually don't know how to take a body apart. And so they'll use things that have jagged edges or smaller knives, and they don't do a job the way that job was done. And so, more than likely, we're going to find out that some or many of those tools were used, and it will come out sooner than later, as Sade was 19, and the evidence, like we saw in the Jeffrey Dahmer case, all of it's going to come out, folks. All right, go for it.
Paraphernalia, all found in this underground bunker belonging to the son of a Milwaukee.
Those are some of the tools there.
Yeah, I wonder where the blood.
Couple drills there, a saw, and I'm not sure what this stuff is up here.
I think that's a stud finder up there. One of them is a
Okay.
stud finder. Yeah.
He was no stud, so.
No, he wasn't. He
We
thought he
also
was.
learned that he was, in fact, digging another underground lair. What, if anything, will this reveal? Joining me an all-star panel to make sense of what we are learning at this hour and how that translates to probative evidence that proves something at trial. But before I go into evidence, I want to welcome a very special guest joining us. We have heard from Sade's mother. She has joined us several times. And joining us now is Sade's father, Mr. Carlos Robinson. Mr. Robinson, thank you for being with us.
Yes, you are.
Mr. Robinson, when did you learn that Sade had been?
I was gonna say, every time I see him, it looks like he's out looking for his daughter's remains. So I hope he's getting some rest.
Yeah, he definitely has been. He wanted to, before the memorial, he was hoping to find something. And I was hoping he didn't actually find anything other than, like, you know, maybe a blanket or a shoe or something like that, because that would be terrible for him. I don't think he knows what trauma will come with that. But yes, this dad is searching with a flashlight, which means night and day.
Yeah, so hopefully he's getting some rest. My heart goes out to him.
Been killed.
For sure, when the DNA came back as a match to mine, when she was missing, I was hopeful that she was still here.
Up until that point, did you believe that she was just missing, that she would be found?
Yes, that's what I was praying for, that she would be found. That the body parts wasn't hers, and that she was going to be found.
Joining me is Sade's father, Carlos Robinson. Mr. Robinson, there was a moment where a volunteer, not police, but a volunteer discovered, as it's being called, a pet tribute blanket. A lot of people have them. We have one, a little pet of Sade's. And it was found wet and dirty and filthy in a park area, a park for children area, and nearby were human body parts. When you heard her blanket, her little pet tribute blanket had been found, what went through your mind?
No offense.
Yeah, that cute little blanket there. That and you see how it's pink? So that was her blanket, and someone found that at the park. And
all of this is incomprehensible.
And mind you, they found it in an area where the cops said they had already looked. And this is something that's been coming up. Nancy's been talking about. This family is getting like zero help looking for anything in this case. And most of the important stuff has been found by civilians. We'll keep that in mind. This poor guy isn't getting much help.
He's by himself out there. We saw that in the last, I don't know if they show it now, but he's walking around doing it himself. And the other ones were kind of out in the open. One was at the park. The other piece washed up ashore. So yeah, there's not a lot of resources. And I hope that there will be now that they've seen the dungeon and they've got more blood. I hope once the results come back, they put more resources on it.
Absolutely.
I don't understand how the community, and I appreciate everything that they're doing, how they can find a blanket that was already searched by an area that was already searched by the authorities. but just evidence after evidence.
Was it? Was it, Mr. Robinson? Had that area been thoroughly searched by authorities? Because it's my understanding volunteers found body parts as well.
Yeah, I talked to the police after the blanket was found, and I asked them why they didn't find it, because they told me they searched that area previously. So I don't know how they searched it and didn't see that. I don't know if it's limited resources or what. I don't feel like it's a lot of real effort being put trying to find her. I've been here since 11 o'clock last night. I haven't been to sleep. I've been to the parks. I've been all over with flashlights, binoculars. I just don't feel like I can sleep. I just want to find her. You know.
Blame them.
But I don't feel like it's a effort that there should be. I don't feel like they're doing the effort that they need to do to find her, using the resources, whatever they have to do to find my baby girl.
Mr. Robinson, what are you looking for? You've been there since 11 o'clock last night looking. What are you looking for?
Well, I keep, there's only 2 body parts left that we haven't found, and I just want to put her to rest properly. I keep having dreams about it, so I just want her to at least rest in peace. And I can't do that until I have her together. They won't even let me see the body parts they have because they said it's evidence. So I'm just trying to do what I can do to find her, hoping she leads me to it.
Yeah, the poor guy isn't even allowed to see his own daughter's body because it's labeled as evidence.
Right. And I mean, it may be for his own good, but yeah, I understand. There's a lot of things that people don't like about that get in the way of them finding the closure. I hope at some point they do. I hope when they do match some other things or decide, okay, we found these body parts, we're going to find that they let him have the closure. There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of questions in here, guys. At JT, the crime scene, he's hosting today. That's why I'm not bringing up questions and addressing you like normal, because I'm on his show. Thank you so kindly for hosting. So I want you to know, Davey, that the pizza place, we don't know what the significance of it completely is, but we're putting pieces together of the 2 girls. And this could be like how the Long Island serial killer, how there was a bunch of bodies on the shore and some were connected to him. So that means that there's 2 people that are out there doing that. So either way, Joniah is still missing. They both work at the same pizza place. They're similar in looks, and the circumstances can be tied, or it could be another person. But we just want to find Sade Robinson's body parts and Joniah Walker. We want to put the word out for her. So if you hear anything, let us know about the pizza place, any locals.
Yeah, and I would think I'm sure the guy knows where he put the girl, but right now he's pleading not guilty, so I don't think he's going to admit to anything at the moment.
Right. And he looks like he might. I was looking at his lawyers again. It looks like they are hired lawyers, and if his parents have money, if his parents do have money, and they call him a rich brat killer at one point, I think he does have hired attorneys. And I mean, those guys are like bulldogs. When you hire somebody, a high-paid attorney, he's not going to say anything. They're going to let them find the evidence and just run with what they can and get the best defense. So that's unfortunate.
Absolutely.
Mr. Robinson, I just thank you so much for speaking with us today, because I know your heart is breaking and you have been looking through the night out with a flashlight trying to find your daughter, her body parts. I think the closest person in the world to me ever was my dad, Mac. Tell me about Sade in life.
My baby girl was an amazing person. She was full of love. She was a giver. She would give you the shirt off her back. She had a very good heart. She was intelligent.
Most people have no clue that.
Sorry about that, guys.
You got to get the premium YouTube.
Yeah, right.
she had so much potential about her future and what she wanted to do in just the register.
She's been on a future podcast with us someday.
Exactly.
So what
She's got so much. She was down the complete right path. 19 years old, getting her degree. They're going to go get it for her. She was working, making her money, just being a good person and a good woman, and she didn't have the opportunity to do so. The bishop says, if you're offered a job at Pizza Shuttle, run. Yeah. Hey, and if anybody's local and you want to go, you're at the Pizza Shuttle, maybe take a look at it and email us some information. I'll put my email down below about anything. If there's a lot of younger girls that work there that look similar to these, anything that you find interesting about it, let me know.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Pizza Shuttle does have some good food, though. That's why I went a bunch of times with my buddies. It was just like one of those places you go with your buddies. It's kind of like a younger folks. It's like on the east side of Milwaukee, like a lot of like, people like 18 to, 25 type of age go there. And
they probably work in there, right?
Right, exactly. It's that crowd, and they've got this thing called the pizza pinwheel. It's just like this strip of dough. Then they'll lay like all these pepperonis on the strip, and then roll up the strip with some cheese like laid out, and then it's like this big old wheel of like pizza. It's called the pizza pinwheel. It's delicious.
You can't eat that anymore, though.
No, yeah, no. Now that I'm on carnivore, no.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
What I told her the world is her oyster. She makes that decision. Don't let anybody make it to her.
Mr. Robinson, what did she want to be when she got out of college? What did she want to do?
Her goal was to be a lawyer, ultimately. She was graduating for criminal justice, but she was torn between military and being a lawyer. But she always wanted to be a lawyer, so I think she was more leaning towards that than military.
Mr. Robinson, my brother and my sister and I were first generation college graduates. And I think that was one of the proudest moments of my father's life when we graduated from college. How proud of this girl, this beautiful girl, Sade, how proud of her were you going to college, paying her way, working? I mean, this girl did it all.
Yeah, she did. She did. She was a very independent-minded person. She would call me and tell me, Dad, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. She had, and that was just what she was doing was just the tip of her potential. She could be anything she wants. She could have been the president if she wanted to. She really had that potential.
Would she tell you on the phone that she loved you?
Yes. Yeah. She was living with me for a while, but we always loved each other. She always knew she could call me. We always talked.
Mr. Robinson, you stated that there are, I'm sorry, you stated that 2 body parts have not been found. What part of Sade has not been found?
Her head and one of her arms.
Sir, thank you, baby. Yeah.
The head and the arm, like that's just.
And in case people miss that, that's what he's looking for. That's what he's specifically out there looking for is her head and her arm, folks, which is not what a parent should be doing or, looking for or even having to say that. So, thanks for bringing more attention to this, JT. We appreciate that. There's just people that haven't seen this case because not a lot of people are covering it. I mean, that I appreciate Nancy Grace for being one of those that is, but there's just when I Google it or look it up on YouTube, there's not a lot. So let's pray and let's seek justice. One girl is missing, one girl is passed, and what I'm saying with that is that similar circumstances, and that we think, and I think I'll speak for myself, that Maxwell Anderson has had more than one victim. Now, are they going to show further in here about his basement and any of the areas?
Absolutely, we're just getting started.
All right, let's go. The dad talks slow. I'm sure he's
Learned
tired.
that she was, quote, excited about her date with this Milwaukee millionaire's son. What goes through your mind?
None of it makes sense to me. She did not. This guy was not her type at all. Me and her mom talked about it. We don't understand it. I don't know how he got her to come to his house, but that's not something I could see my daughter doing, especially with somebody she didn't know. Um, my daughter was attracted to people that, because when she first wanted to date, she would tell me, "Dad, I found this guy. That this guy, I like this guy, and this guy, he reminds me of you. He's very protective of me, and things like that." Was her was the qualities she looked for, and this guy has none of these qualities. So I just don't. That dynamic don't match up.
Mr. Robinson, we are learning about this guy, underground torture chamber. What goes through your mind when you hear about that? I think my father would just lay down on the ground and cry.
Well, one of the questions I asked in the beginning to the officers did this happen post-mortem, or did she suffer? They told me they were post-mortem, but still the dude. It takes a different kind of evil to do something like this.
Boy.
So she wasn't. At least she wasn't tortured.
Right.
Right. From what I'm getting out of it.
Well, we hope not. I think there was definitely a fear, but yeah, we hope that she wasn't tortured. We hope it was post-mortem that happened, and I'm sure if she was in his basement at any time, there was a huge fear, but we hope it wasn't for long. May she rest in peace, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Everybody that doesn't know about the case and is just learning about it, you can go back. There's a playlist of Sade Robinson on JT on his channel, The Crime Scene, JT or mine, and learn all about it. Please, the more that know about it, the better it will be, the more we can help. And the police will give it more attention when they see social media kicking up this storm and they're not doing what they need to.
Yeah,
we don't know what the motive was.
If he really wasn't her type, like what was he telling her? Was he like, "Hey, I'll buy you something," or I don't know. What was he telling her? I'd love to see some of those text messages. I wonder if they'll ever come out or anything.
Well, I mean, the dad said that, but she went with him clearly, and he was a 33-year-old guy that probably had some charm. Said his parents had money. She was 19, and he had looks when he didn't look all disgusting. I mean, he has the blue eyes, the blonde hair, so maybe it wasn't her type, but that changes also when you're drinking and whatever.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately,
too bad.
Let's get it back into it here.
Drill are recovered from Anderson's backyard. Robinson's leg was severed just below the hip socket and appeared to be sawed off. There were multiple cutting impressions around the amputation point and sharp force trauma around the exposed femur bone. The top of the femur bone appeared snapped off, but the bone was sawn halfway through. No further details have been released on the state of the latest remains recovered, Robinson's arm and torso.
Be fearless. Change.
So yeah, he did use some tools, but whatever he used wasn't very good because it only went halfway through the bone, I guess.
Oh.
A 19-year-old thrilled about a first date with the son of a Milwaukee millionaire. Murdered and dismembered, not sure in what order. Her dad is out alone with a flashlight, looking for Sade's head and arm. Where are the police? Where are the cadaver dogs? Why is Mr. Robinson out with a flashlight trying to find his daughter's remains, saying that his brother, sister, and nephew are going to join him tonight? Can you even imagine your father out with a flashlight looking for your remains? What this family has been through. This, as we are learning about an underground torture chamber, including a hacksaw, a circle saw, a power drill, Joining me, Bria Jones, investigative reporter, Fox 6 News Milwaukee. Bria, thank you for being with us. The video we obtained of the basement, as some people would call it, but it was set up to be a sex and torture chamber. There's really no question about that. What do you know, Bria?
Well, Nancy, this is my first time seeing that video. I can tell you that we have spoken with someone who knows Maxwell Anderson, saying that they were friends. They told us they actually have been to that home. They described the home to us as messy. That woman that we spoke with said that she's been over there several times, that Maxwell Anderson was a friend. Right now, there's just a lot of contention surrounding that home. The first 2 weeks after Sade disappeared and then was found dismembered, people constantly were going to the home. Every single day we saw Milwaukee police officers actually outside that home because people were, of course, curious, trying to go behind the home, taking pictures, taking videos. They're also furious that they believe that family members are actually allowed to go inside of the home to clean and clear things out. But again, the sheriff's office addressing all those issues on Friday, they sent out a statement saying that they are not stopping their search. They are continuing the search. They also said that if the home is sold, that will not impact their investigation. They also said that no one has been allowed to inappropriately enter the home since it became a crime scene.
What more do we know about the so-called sex and torture dungeon? Was this where teen girl Sade spent her last moments alive? Listen.
Maxwell Anderson had a sex dungeon in the basement of his West Milwaukee home, according to a law enforcement source. Cops found a sex sling, restraints, and handcuffs. A close friend of Anderson said that on a visit to Anderson's home last year, he noticed a large hole in the ground that was about 5 feet long by 6 foot deep. Anderson said he was working on an underground basement despite having a large...
So he had a hole in his basement as well, besides the backyard. Did you see that basement? Like, why is there so much dirt in his basement?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we've seen time and time again. It looks like he was expanding upon what he was doing. Now, what he was doing, we don't know yet. Austin, that's a good question. Whose blood was it? Once we find out, maybe we'll know more of the victims. But yeah, if you see serial killers and people doing, a lot of these guys do the same things. They get away with it, and then now he's going to expand on it.
Yeah, they have said that it wasn't Sade's blood, but they haven't confirmed that it was his blood. It could be his blood in his own house, maybe from doing something stupid, but it could be another victim's blood too, and that's what I'm afraid of. But you figured if it was Maxwell's blood, they would have just came out and said, yeah, it wasn't Sade's, it was Maxwell's, and a discussion, like you guys can quit asking about it.
Right. I wonder what though. I mean, why? How much of it? Right? Because when I've cut myself in my house before, I don't just leave blood laying around. Now we saw that he's dirty and he leaves stuff around. It just seems under those circumstances that it might be somebody else's. It's leaning more towards that than it being his. But it takes a while to come back and get the results. And if that person's not in the database either, then we don't know who it is. So we wait and see, everybody.
We shall see.
Yeah.
Basement in the home already. Neighbors say the basement in the home had small windows that were always covered, so you could not see inside.
Joining me,
yeah, I wonder why he had his windows covered. He didn't want anybody to see what he was doing.
I mean, he had a grave too. What was the grave for? I mean, Austin made a good point earlier about 2 hours in and out. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
All-star panel. But first to Scott Johnson, forensic psychologist, author of Physical Abusers and Sex Offenders, Forensic Considerations and Strategies. Scott, thank you for being with us. What grown man continues to build underground layers? He's got one basement full of sex slings, restraints, handcuffs, circular saws, hacksaws, power drills. He's got a grave dug in the backyard, yet he's building another underground lair. What is that?
He sounds like a sexual sadist. So he's progressing. He's finding new space to torture, dismember people. I mean, that would be the working theory, is that he's simply expanding on his perversion to torture, hurt, rape, and kill people.
Yep.
Eric Faddis, you're a high-profile trial lawyer, TV analyst, partner at Varner Faddis Elite Legal. Eric, that's not going to look good on an overhead projector in front of a jury. Think about it. A dark courtroom. The prosecutor turns on that video I just played, and we find all about sex slings, restraints, handcuffs, circular saws, hacksaws, power drills, a grave in the backyard, unknown mystery blood around and throughout the defendant's home, and his zeal to dig yet another underground lair. What do you do with that, Faddis?
Yeah, Nancy, I mean, I'm a seasoned criminal law attorney, former felony prosecutor, and I shudder when I'm hearing you describe these things. I shudder to myself as to the depravity that appears to be going on in Maxwell Anderson's basement. And so, when the jury hears about these inflammatory discoveries that we're hearing about week after week, it's just the case is building. I think the walls are really coming in for Maxwell Anderson, and from a legal standpoint, it's looking very bad.
Eric Faddis, are you familiar with the program The Office? Oh, okay. Do you remember when Michael always says what she said? Remember that? That's what you just did. I just said how horrible this is going to be in front of a jury. You're the defense lawyer. What do you do with it? Try to get it thrown out? Argue there's no foundation for the video? What? What can you argue? Yes, he's a perverted sex sadist, which means you like to inflict pain on other people, but not a killer. He's just your average, run-of-the-mill, friendly neighborhood sex sadist. Is that where you're going?
You know, from a criminal defense perspective, this is certainly a challenge. One thing that the government has not yet established is exactly the cause of death, how Sade Robinson perished. And so I could just foresee the criminal defense team spinning up something saying like, hey, there may have been an accident that took place, but Maxwell Anderson didn't kill her. He tried to cover up what happened afterwards. And
Whoa, do you think that they could say that and try to get him off? That she died from an accident if they don't know the cause of death? Oh, no.
Oh, of course. I mean, they got to have some kind of defense, but either way, he still did it. The fact is, he cut her up, he spread her parts, put one in the park, he did a whole bunch of things with it. They can always use that. They can always use that as a defense, as accidental. That's going to be one of the top defenses that people will use when they have no defense. So, I mean, let them do that. As
Yeah,
the
it
police
was accident. Why didn't you call the police?
that's everybody that uses that excuse, and this isn't the first guy that the court systems in the world has seen that is expanding upon their their dungeons and their things. I can bring up a list of 10 people right now that have done that in the history of serial killers, or they've only done it once and they never got to. They held like one woman, she got out and it was exposed. These guys, it happens and it sucks.
Yeah.
These poor ladies.
Yeah, especially if someone gets away with it time after time,
Well, he does sound like a serial killer, Jamie. That's what I'm trying to. That's the narrative I'm looking at. Well, we don't know yet, but I think that he might be.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pig pen, so I don't even think she went in there willingly, honestly. I think she had to be knocked out or something. I don't think she went in there willingly.
I wonder if they have video. I thought they had video of them two at the fish place, and they went to the bar. And then I don't know from there. Yeah, you're right, Davey. Everything's open for the imagination. There's nothing specific because they're still doing the investigation.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm just wondering if that's the avenue that the defense might try to travel on this case.
Oh, dear Lord in heaven. You know what? Satan just came out of your mouth. Yeah, that's exactly where they're going. You're right, Faddis. Okay, Dr. Kendall Crowns is joining me, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, Lecturer, Burnett School of Medicine at Texas Christian University. Dr. Kendall Crowns, you have performed around 10,000 autopsies, you think, maybe more. Dr. Crowns, how can you, a medical examiner, look at the cuts, the severances on her body? We know her father has just told us that he is still looking for Sade's head and one of her arms. I don't know how the man even had the strength to even say that. But you, Dr. Crowns, can you look under a microscope at the cut wounds on her torso, her neck, her legs, and tell me whether she was dismembered post-mortem or in life?
So the answer to that is yes. You can look at the wounds themselves. You don't have to look at it microscopically. Actually, when you look at the wound at autopsy, if there's hemorrhage or blood in the wound itself, there's a vital reaction to the cut or the stab, if you will, and that the heart was still beating at that time period. If the cut itself, it looks kind of dry and yellow, that's a dismemberment cut that occurred post-mortemly or after death. So really what you're looking for is hemorrhage in the tissue or blood in the tissue that shows there was still a beating heart.
Interesting. There's always a science behind how they can tell. I love how they can break that down.
Right. And the bishop says agree with JT. She wasn't worldly about men and dating. Maybe she went back against her will or drugged. Absolutely. Again, her mom ties Jeffrey Dahmer to the case. That's what he did. Maybe they went out and got a drink. He slipped something in her drink, and then she needed to, be held up. So he's like, oh, let me help you. Then took her back to his place. I wouldn't doubt it. He was 33. She was 19. So yeah, these are all things that we'll know after it comes out. If she has, they have her torso, so hopefully they can find out the toxicology, and we'll find out. We don't know yet any of this.
She seemed like a responsible girl, though, so that's why I just err on the side that I don't think she would just go home with him.
Right. And once she did and saw a house like that, she probably would have wanted to leave right away.
Yes. He likely had practice victims. I cannot see Sade being his first survey. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's a shame. We're gonna find out though.
Yard is in a similar state of disorder. A fire pit contains charred wood. Pieces of plywood litter the yard, and a bin on the side of the house is full of dirt. On the patio, a shovel, storage.
Yeah, and can you imagine what's in his burn pit? What was he burning?
Exactly. We're all going to find out soon, I hope.
Bin and wheelbarrow have been left out. Next to a fence, there's a large pile of broken furniture, wood, and trash. The woman digs through the fire pit and checks underneath concrete pavers for disturbed earth.
I'm already feeling it.
Sorry about that.
Joining me in All-Star panel as we delve into potential probative evidence that is now being discovered in a so-called underground torture chamber. Very disturbing to think that this young girl, Sade Robinson, spent her last moments on this earth, her last moments alive, there, in this confused.
See, and that's what I'm confused about. Nancy says that she spent her last moments in this basement, but none of her blood was found anywhere on the property.
Right. So I don't know where she's getting that information from.
Unless he
or what happened, yeah.
Unless he choked her or something.
Well, then where did he do that? Where did he, cut up her body parts? That's another question.
Yeah, that would be somewhere different. But if she did die in there, then it was probably something done with his hands where there was no blood, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about it being at the end of their property too, his parents' house. Maybe he took her back to the parents' house. We just don't know yet, which is interesting because he had access to this place. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think this was the parents' place, right? They own this house, right?
Well, they probably did, but they also had another house that wasn't a pig pen that they showed. It looked like a kind of like a mansion. So I wonder if he said, "Hey, let's go over there." If her blood's not there, then she wasn't in there. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. There's no evidence that she was there. You're right, Davey. So what was he using that for? Who else was there?
Yeah,
I don't think we have answers to any of this yet. And the burnt car, right? Did he do it in the car?
Yeah, and someone. Well, you would think though, because I don't think the car burnt long enough to get rid of evidence. So if because someone said the other day, well, maybe her head and arm were in the car still and didn't get chucked out, tossed.
Right.
Well, if that's the case, I think the police would have found it in there because I don't think the car burnt long enough to destroy everything.
Right. Yeah, it never does. I mean, even if you have a body too, and you try to burn it, you're never going to get rid of that evidence you're looking for because the temperature never gets hot enough. That's why you have to use an incinerator.
Yeah,
but
so that's why
amateurs don't know that.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it was in the car. I do think he disposed of all the parts.
Yeah.
Basement.
We'll find
torture
out.
chamber full of sex paraphernalia, power saw, hacksaw, power drills. Was this?
Is that like a bed in the corner there?
It does look like a possible mattress with just a bunch of stuff thrown on top of it.
Yeah, with like, I wonder if this is the area they were talking about. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, maybe they'll show it if you slow it down when it gets to that part. It's hard to tell. I don't know if that's a picture or video.
Thing she saw. Eric Faddis, trial lawyer, former prosecutor. What evidence would you be searching for right now? I would grab and bag every single implement I found: the hacksaw, the circle saw, the power drill, you name it, a hammer, everything, to look for microscopic evidence of blood. We know blood is found in the home. So far, it has not matched Sade, which begs the question: whose is it? Is there another victim? But what evidence are we looking for in that torture chamber?
Yeah, Nancy, I think you're spot on to look at every single tool, every single instrument that, maybe on its own might be innocuous, but when viewed together with the context of the sex dungeon, could be very incriminating. So yes, seizing all of those tools. And then also, I would ask the neighbors whether they've heard any sort of drilling or sawing or power tools going on, because those things are audible. Those things make noise. And perhaps Maxwell Anderson tried to muffle them. But I'm just wondering what the neighbors have heard over the course of the past months or years that could contribute to this investigation.
Well, we know, Eric Faddis, that the son of the millionaire, now suspect number one, and by the way, he's got a $5 million bond, Maxwell Anderson had the upper level windows in the basement all covered up, so neighbors couldn't see in there. And I wonder, if you look at the house, the neighbors are far enough away. I wonder if they could hear anything. When you look at this house, it's certainly deceiving. It's neatly kept with the walkway, the perfectly clean, pristine walkway. The lawn is perfectly manicured. The home has this front porch on it in the shade with a chair. It's very inviting. Wow, Scott Johnson, looks can be deceiving, can't they?
They sure can. And, most sadists are going to have that outer appearance of normal and tranquility and getting along with everybody. And it's what goes on inside. No different than with domestic abuse. You like the people, but what happens behind closed doors, another story.
Let's take a look at the outside again, because Scott Johnson, forensic psychologist and author of Physical Abusers and Sex Offenders, Forensic Considerations and Strategies. Scott, look, it's almost compulsively clean. I mean, the neatness is over the top. Look at that tree on the right. It's pruned into a perfect triangle. The lawn is mowed in perfect lines, but in his sex dungeon, everything is in disarray. You see a mind in disarray, which tells me a lot.
Right, and obsessive compulsiveness is very common with sadists especially. However, as he's working out his perversion of what he's trying to do and his fantasies, trying to bring them to reality, very little usually goes right. And that's the discombobulation, that as he's trying to get everything right, for how many people has he already killed, right? Not likely the first here. And therefore, he's trying to make amends for what didn't go right. So building the second basement and things in disarray. His fantasy is just not coming to reality as much as he would like it to be with his obsessive compulsiveness.
Scott, what does a mind?
Interesting. So fantasy building is what drives a lot of these guys, I guess, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first and it's not the last that we're going to hear about this kind of thing. It happened in California in the 80s, I believe. Early 80s, there was two guys that got together and did that out in a cabin. They had like this whole cabin that was like a sex cabin, and I can make a whole list of things, but this is all speculation. However, he was either fantasizing about doing it or he had already done it before, didn't get caught, and had to put the leg out there so that everyone could find it to toy with the police because they weren't catching him. They weren't catching on to him. No one was looking at the women that were missing. That wasn't accidental that he put it out right there for people to see.
It's interesting. I always love your takes on it, Jay.
Yeah, it's just data that you get from other cases like this. I mean, these guys think they're so, they're so like fresh and new, and they're doing something that hasn't been done, but it's been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not the first sick pup out there.
Exactly, and they have a lot of similar. That's why the data is, and you've got these psychologists and these behavior analysts because they analyze all that and they put these guys into different categories, and they do fit in the category. There's nothing really new here, but hopefully the new thing is that we get justice and we find the people that he's taken, and Sade, obviously that's our focus.
Absolutely.
Mind in disarray, tell me. And the dichotomy of the compulsively neat exterior to the massive disarray inside. Gosh, that could be a case study for you.
Well, yes and no, because again, the obsessive compulsiveness for the outside is black and white. You mow the lawn, you trim the tree. But the obsessive compulsiveness for the murders, torture, rape, dismemberment, those things just don't come perfect. And so as you're trying to make them perfect, you make a lot of mistakes, things get disarrayed, and also the mind gets more cluttered and frustrated, which leads to more mistakes and more disarray. But trying to get it right is what the sadist is always trying to do.
To Dr. Kendall Crowns, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, and lecturer at TCU, Dr. Crowns, hypothetically, could the hacksaw, the circular saw, or the power drill be matched up to the cuts, the very deep cuts used to dismember Sade? Can you match up the tool to tool markings on her body?
Yes, actually, usually it's on the bone. The saws will leave specific marks on the bone that can be matched up to the little teeth on the saw. The drill itself could be used, and you could look for drill type injuries on the bones as well that can match to the drill bit.
What the science?
Yeah, I love the science behind how they look into these weapons and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they've seen it so many times, and you got this one guy that they go to for all of these cases that knows they can look right at it and say, oh, this type of weapon was used. It was jagged edge. It was not. It was a T-bar. It was a whatever, on and on. So, yeah, do you know where that film came from? Is that, it didn't look like body cam. It looked like somebody's cell phone filming it
I
to
wonder
me,
if
but
it was one of the officers, one of the first responders on the scene, like one of the sheriffs or something taking.
right, video.
Yeah.
It didn't look like body cam. Somebody was asking, but it could be. It looked like a cell phone because of the orientation of it.
Yeah, if I had to guess, it was probably one of the officers down there, and video
Yeah.
that's finally coming to the surface here. Yeah, it could have been better. And he had low battery. It's like charge your phone.
Yeah, that had to have been. I just noticed the low battery when you said that. So body cam doesn't. I've never seen that on body cam before.
Right.
As for any better daughter, there was things my daughter did that many adults were not even able to accomplish in their lifetimes. This son of a took my daughter from me.
You are hearing Sade's mother speak through her tears about the search for Sade. Her father has told us tonight he is still searching into the night with a flashlight, along with his sister, his brother, his nephew, for this beautiful girl's head. Why are they out there alone searching? Where is law enforcement? Where are the cadets, shoulder to shoulder, looking for this beautiful co-ed's remains? That's just one question I've got. We now know a water search has turned up nothing. Listen.
In an update from the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, deputies reiterated that despite 2 unsuccessful water searches for Robinson's remains, the investigation has not slowed down. Investigators are searching for evidence and fielding tips on a daily basis while continuing to look for Robinson's remains. MCSO also cleared up claims that Anderson had been released from custody, stating that Anderson has been behind bars since his arrest on April 4th.
Joining me, Bria Jones, investigative reporter, Fox News 6. Bria, again, thank you for being with us. What can you tell me about those water searches, and are they ongoing? Will there be another water search? I'm curious, Bria, because we know that some of Sade's body parts seemingly washed up along shore. And when you don't know a horse, you look at his track record. If he threw some of Sade's remains into the water, could that be where her head and arm are as well?
That's right, Nancy. I think that's the big question right now. Where is Sade? Sade's birthday is actually May 10th. That's when her family plans to have her memorial here in Milwaukee. So that's why now her father is here desperately searching for her head and her arm. Every single day, her family members have been seeming to be leading these searches. Again, as you mentioned, and you said time and time again, we've not really seen much law enforcement continuing their search. However, they say they are searching, but right now it appears that it's the family, it's the nonprofits. They're asking for volunteers, they're asking for waiters, they're asking the public constantly for supplies because they're going.
They are asking for volunteers. So if anybody's watching and would like to help out, I'm assuming you could probably find a Facebook group for Sade Robinson, the search efforts. So if anybody is in the Wisconsin area like me and you're interested, they are looking for volunteers. I just wanted to pause there for a second. I thought that was important.
Yeah, going out daily and searching the water. Again, law enforcement saying that they are also searching. We saw some evidence of those searches last week. However, it's the family that's on the boots on the ground daily doing their searches.
Well, I know they say that they're continuing to search, but that is not what I'm hearing from Mr. Robinson. He's out with a flashlight searching, and I know my father would be doing the very same thing. Another technical forensic issue has arisen. The potential that there are more bodies, that there is more than one victim. Listen.
In Maxwell Anderson's home, police discovered gas cans in the garage and blood in several areas, including on bedding and the wall of a stairwell leading to the basement. After initial DNA tests, an amended probable cause affidavit reveals that the blood is not a match to Sade Robinson. Authorities have not made any indication of who the blood belongs to, possibly another victim or Anderson himself.
So blood in 2 different spots, Jay. The bedding and then the stairwell down to the basement.
Right. And it just seems really weird. I mean, unless the guy gets his period, I don't think that the bedding or the stairwell would be his. I just can't imagine. I have a feeling that it's not going to be his.
Yeah, no, I think it's a significant find for a reason. It's not his. He's not.
Absolutely. I was saying this case just started, and Melissa asked what case. This case, Melissa, this case just started. We don't know a lot, but we're trying to make we're trying to make awareness for Sade Robinson, since the dad shouldn't be out there searching for himself. People that are local can help him. There's organizations that can help. we need awareness. Hopefully there is a Facebook page that you local people can join. And the person that tipped it into the FBI, that was fantastic of you about the Joniah Walker, just at least for them to look into possibilities. So we're on this because she needs all the help she can get in this case. And Nancy even said, why is his dad out there searching by himself? So
because he
that's
needs,
why we're doing this.
right? Because he needs the help and he's not getting it. And yeah, and that's what me and my wife have been doing for Elijah Fu. There's just there's just not the support there should be from the police, unfortunately, in that case either. I don't know if it's just Wisconsin or what, but yeah, that's another reason I started this channel, so we could just get involved and try to help out wherever we can, and take you guys along on the journey.
Yeah, and there's a lot of suppositions when you're doing a case that is somebody that's missing or somebody that just got arrested. We don't know all of the things, and we have to be patient and wait. So we have to come up with theories. Versus my channel, I came out with guilty of crime, and now I'm doing all these missing people. Guilty of crime was to cover serial killers that we already know were convicted and study them and their behavior so we can see what they do. They're not special either, and how they behave and how the people behave nowadays. So we can correlate the two. So now I'm doing the missing people, and I have to make suppositions. But for the cases that are solved, we just know. And unfortunately, there's a lot of unsolved cases. So
there really is.
Yeah.
All right, let's round this thing out here.
Dr. Kendall Crowns joining us, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, that's Fort Worth. Dr. Kendall Crowns, I had the opportunity to work several spree killings, including the killing, being on the scene at the Fulton County Courthouse shooting, where multiple victims were killed. Prior to that, I handled multiple victim murders in various locations, including outside. Question to you, Dr. Crowns, when you process the scene where more than one person has been murdered, that's a whole another trick. When you're trying to determine multiple DNA, various blood types, various fingerprints, various hair. I'm wondering if there's going to be hair, blood, fingerprints on those power tools. How do you, now that we know there's blood from another person in that home, how do you go about processing a scene like this?
So in this particular case, or in that situation that you're describing, you would have to document each item, take swabs of all the items, and then give them each individual numbers, and then start going through the process of identifying the DNA, seeing if there's matches, with missing persons. It can be a very lengthy, tedious process because there can be so many specimens that are available in a scene such as that.
A Milwaukee police officer who was aware of our investigation raised the possibility that the leg may be related to a missing person investigation that they were conducting, and that missing person was Sade Robinson. The severed leg has been preliminarily identified as belonging to Miss Robinson.
This is what. Yeah, it's a. I think this case is just opening up right here, Jay.
Yeah, I believe so too. And it hit big because of the different body parts. And, it got sensationalized over that. And then it died down when nothing was happening and nobody was searching. So we don't want to let that happen. And new evidence will come out. But in the meantime, we want to talk about what else is happening. I mean, we want to give attention to the parents, those poor parents.
Absolutely. And the question for you, Jay, is that normal for serial killers to have such a nice looking lawn like Nancy was saying?
Oh, absolutely. They hide in plain sight. Look at the Golden State Killer for 30 years. Look at BTK with his family and, connected to the police officers. I mean, you could just go on and on. Jeffrey Dahmer, well, he was the one that let the cat out of the bag. His house smelled like dead people, and they kept reporting it. Nobody cared because the community that he was in, the police didn't give it attention. But most of the time, they hide in plain sight. And you don't see it until you do. And they get away with it for a long time. So this guy either is a serial killer or was about to be one. So we don't know until we get more, on the blood and more people start coming forward.
A lot of serial killers have OCD and need everything perfect.
Right, and they have families a lot.
because the fantasy isn't going perfect, so you need something to control.
Look at Gacy. Look at John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer clown. He was connected to like political ties. He went to the birthday parties. He had all the parties at his houses. Nothing looked like that. But then when the bodies got out of control and he needed to put line because he had 36 bodies under his house, then it got out of control.
Well, he was also dumb enough to invite a police officer over for dinner.
Well, that's because his ego got the best of him. That and the political ties, also political ties, and going to law school was Ted Bundy. So, yeah, it is about control.
Right. All right. We're just about at the end of this here. So,
several concerns regarding Maxwell Anderson's home. Deputies assured the public that no one had entered the home inappropriately after Anderson's family came to the house to remove personal belongings. The sheriff's office says their search warrants have been completed, and anyone and
they let his family remove personal belongings. What if some of that was evidence, though?
Exactly.
Interesting.
That's the problem. That's a problem.
Interesting. I don't like that.
Anderson allows to enter the home may do so. They referenced the possibility that Anderson's home could be sold, but assured the public officers would still be able to search the home after a sale if necessary.
I'm learning so much. Bria Jones joining us, investigative reporter, Fox 6 News. You're seeing video footage that we obtained from inside the basement, where sex paraphernalia, along with power tools such as circular saws, hack saws, power drills discovered, along with human blood not belonging to Sade Robinson. Bria Jones, it's my understanding that the suspect, who maintains his innocence, that the suspect's family has gone into the home. Is that true?
Well, Nancy, what I can tell you is that that's what Sade's family is saying. That some of them have publicly shared videos and pictures of people that have been going in and around the home. The sheriff's office, again, saying that people, if they have been allowed to enter the home, that they were not allowed to do so inappropriately. They also doubled down that this would not impact or affect the investigation in any way. But we have seen, again, trash bags outside of the home after people were seen near it.
Okay, to Eric Faddis, just as in the Idaho Slay case where 4 beautiful University of Idaho students were murdered in their own bed.
What would the family need to grab that's so important? That's what I don't understand.
Well, they're not dumb. They want to muck up the investigation. They have money, and I'm sure they're using it. All you have to do is look at the Murdaugh case. As soon as he killed his family, he flooded his house with lawyers. They stomped all over all the investigation area. They were in in their pool room with all the guns. They just didn't pick up the right bullet casings that they should have, and it tied it back. But I mean, they completely stomped all over the crime scene in the Murdaugh case, and luckily we got justice. But I mean, that's what they're doing. They're clearly doing that. If they hire, I'm going to find out if they hired who his lawyers are, so I can find out if they're hired or not. But I'm going to bet that if he has rich parents, that they hired him lawyers.
I did do a search last time, and I could not find anything on who his defense attorney was, so I couldn't find it. So maybe you might come up with something different.
Well, I could watch the news. And where they show the lawyers, and I'm sure we could. It usually says inside of the.
Okay.
It will say. I'll look for it. I just haven't had time this weekend because I was supposed to be on this weekend, but I can't stay away from these cases.
I know you're a true crime addict, Jay.
Exactly, I know. It's hard, when people call you and say, "Oh, this big thing hit," and then tomorrow for the Madeline Soto case, the files came out finally for Stephen Stearns and all the things, all the details. So that's insane.
That's gonna be big.
And those things, those were $400 files. So creators were buying them and reselling them, and it was a big deal.
Awesome. Let's finish this one up here.
At night, that home destroyed. There's no possibility a jury will ever go there to see the scene, as we've seen in many other cases, such as O.J. Simpson or Alex Murdaugh, those murder trials.
Yeah, it's certainly a concern for the integrity of the investigation. And as we've seen, there have been discoveries throughout the course of this investigation that has informed the direction of the investigation. And that's not necessarily going to stop. And so, to be allowing just anybody to go into that house, potentially tamper with the scene, tamper with things in there, we can see from this video, there are a number of items still in there that the government has not yet seized. And my concern is the government's going to learn more about what happened and want to go back in there to look for something. And it's not going to be there.
And of course, if the suspect's family members are going in there, such as his mom or dad, they may know things that we don't know, like that he kept a diary and where it might be. But there's just a plethora of items that could be of value to this case. But of course, law enforcement says they've searched it. I don't know how it strikes you, but it doesn't strike me very well. Scott Johnson, forensic psychologist, I think I would be looking now also to the suspect's online activity, possibly being a member of chat rooms, dating websites, how he portrayed himself. What do you think about that avenue?
Oh, absolutely. There's likely searches that he's done online, communications he's had, and sadists and others may communicate with each other, just, shooting the crap in their mind, but discussing crimes. And certainly, again,
You think they'll release what app they met each other on?
They probably will at some point. I'm not sure when, but I thought they met in person. Did I just miss that? Either way, we're gonna get a lot more information released.
Yeah, they met on a dating app.
Okay, they met. Yeah, they will release that. Hopefully, they release it soon so that people can be more cautious as well. And
That's what I was wondering.
yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. We were talking about that in the last episode. We were going back and forth. I just was looking at the comments and I must have missed that. But yeah, this is one that needs to be dived deeper into. We just don't know a lot of information yet. So yeah, but it was a dating app, and I'm sure it probably will come out soon. Now, I'm sure the dating app company's not going to want us to say that, but it's probably one that's a hookup site, and Tinder's one of the most popular hookup sites there is out there.
It's best to know, that way you can, just practice. You should practice safety on all the apps, really.
Yeah, we've heard, what is it? What's the Christian one? There's a Christian dating app that's really popular. And look at Gypsy Rose. She met Nick Godejohn on there, and then they murdered her mom. So, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
He's got to be careful.
Absolutely.
Christian Mingle. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, Christian Mingle. Yep. I met my wife on Plenty of Fish.
That's awesome that that you have this beautiful relationship with her, because a lot of times those are just hookup sites, but you've got to be careful.
Right.
But in your case, that was great.
Yep.
Any communication they've had with family, and what does family know? And again, it's concerning that the house is not yet secured, because as more information may come about, what are we missing from the house? Are family members involved? Sadists or psychopath, that's a genetic issue. Are other family members involved in this? So that would also be another avenue we'd want to look at. What the hell do they know?
All I can think about right now is Sade's father, as we're going to air. He is outmanned with a flashlight, with his brother and his sister and his nephew, looking for his daughter's head and her arm. Our prayers with him now.
Yeah. So what do they? What do they know? What does the family know? What did they want to grab? What was so important they had to go in the house? That's the newest thing that's on the tippy top of my mind. That's for sure.
Well, that's a good, they want to probably grab anything that they could.
Travel set, or you just had to go get that board game of life, that life board game, or the Monopoly, or I don't get it.
And I don't get how they even let him go into that house, being a crime scene, and looking, having all the dungeon and the grave and all the things that with her body parts, because there should have been absolutely no reason they went in the house. They could have just grabbed a t-shirt that had some blood on it that now we missed, or it could have been a hammer that he used. We don't know, and they shouldn't have let him in the house. But money talks.
Yep, money talks, unfortunately, and it's just a shame. It's like, how do you use this case to learn something, to be safer, when this guy didn't put up any red flags, like on the first date and stuff.
And we might find out even further. Maybe people will come forward if they hear more about it and say, I had a date with this guy and I felt, a little bit drowsy and I took off. Whatever. We don't know yet, because it just started and it needs more coverage. That's why. And we also
want to hear from an ex-girlfriend. If there are any ex-girlfriends, I want to hear from one. And
exactly. So there's a lot more to go, everybody. There's a lot of digging to do. Yeah, thanks for covering that, JT. We appreciate it. Have a good one, Giselle. Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Giselle. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to everybody. And, justice for Sade. And let's keep bringing up Joniah. hopefully, we can keep that out there and maybe something can get figured out. Maybe someone can find her, figure out what the heck happened to that little girl.
And it never hurts to throw in her name into every episode that you do on Sade under those circumstances, just to be like, hey, don't forget about Joniah Walker. She's missing. Don't forget about Joniah. Never hurts. Never hurts. And maybe they'll open up the investigation again, or maybe they'll find her. Maybe she did shack up with someone, but her parents are being tormented by her missing. So any and all help is supported.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I fear the worst though. Someone buying her that bag and luring her out of her life and to never go back. Like what happened to her, or what did they say to her? What did they do with her? So very interesting, Joniah.
What bothers me the most about that is that they didn't look into who sent her that package, and they didn't look into her cell phone, who last she was talking to, or any of that. They just labeled her as a runaway and end of story. So I hope that case. Right? That's a huge disservice. Can you imagine if your 15-year-old went missing?
Yeah. Oh, it just ran away next, and it's like they didn't care, And
it happens a lot. But again, I don't want to bring race into it, but it happens in communities as well, and not just African American. It happens in Hispanic communities. It happens in white communities when you're in the white community of lesser status. Like let's say the trailer park folks. Nothing wrong, but I have an RV, and sometimes I live in my trailer in the driveway, like right now. That in the hotel. But anyway, yeah, nothing against anybody, but communities that happens with, and we don't want to be biased with anybody.
Absolutely. We just want to be a voice for the voiceless and try to bring justice to these victims, and not about these predators. It's about the victims, and that's
absolutely
want to keep them in the spotlight. So, and also too, it's a little late, but happy birthday to Sade. It would have been her 20th birthday on Friday. So what a shame.
Yeah, all that she's missing. But now all we can hope for is justice and try to reconcile what's happened, and hope that, that Maxwell doesn't get off, doesn't get some hope, bogus, 10 years accidental, and then he's out doing that again. Because he is only 33 and he has plenty of time to do that some more.
Yeah. I think this is just getting started, so we're going to be talking about this a bunch, I think, Jay.
I think so too, and I appreciate working with you. I appreciate every one of you. Hit the like button so you can get this case in the algorithm. I mean, we're both streaming right now. JT's hosting today. Make sure you're on his site, subscribing, all of that stuff. And it's Mother's Day, so I'm out of here. I got to go hang out. I want to go hang out with the family. I miss them already. And I appreciate every one of you. Thank you, JT. If you have the outro, you can hit it. If not, I'll just hop out.
The outro. I just want to say thanks to everybody who subscribed. Thanks for everybody who tuned in and listened to me and Jay. And shout out to the Sade Robinson family. You guys stay strong, stay tough. And let me cue this outro. We'll catch you guys next time. We'll see you.
See you tomorrow.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Guilty